Hello, welcome Slashers, Crypt here, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm gonna do a spoiler review for It. If you guys haven't seen my original review, go check it out because I do talk about all the stuff, what I like about it and stuff, without spoiling anything. And if you haven't seen the film, I'd recommend watching that, and I recommend watching the film first before watching this, because I'm pretty much gonna be geeking out about how the film was, because there's a lot of good stuff in this film, and I actually, as soon as it comes out for Blu-ray, I will be buying it. That's a guarantee. I will be buying it because I enjoyed it that much. To me, so far, it's like my favorite movie of the year. If you guys haven't watched my original review or haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. It's worth the money. I paid $20 for me and my sister to go. It was worth the money in my opinion. It was worth $20. It was, because it's like, it wasn't what I was expecting. So I was expecting I was expecting some stuff in it that didn't make it, but it wasn't what I was expecting in a good way though. I'm gonna get into all that stuff. So if you guys, just click off now if you guys aren't into spoilers. But I'm just gonna get into it. So, alright, so I'm gonna start off with the first Pennywise appearance, the sewer scene. Now, people back in the day, people were afraid of Pennywise from the sewer scene, from the miniseries. Well, guess what? The sewer scene is done way scarier in this film, cause alright, so what happens? So I said that, in the original review, I said that they don't hold back. Well, Pennywise grabs Georgie's arm and bites his arm off. And the way his face stretches out, the way his teeth stretches out when he bites his arm off, it actually kind of freaked me out. It actually made my heart race, actually, and that's rare in a film, in a horror film. It freaked me out actually, and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? That looks so creepy. For me, that's one of the examples that Bill Skarsgård is great as Pennywise. And so I also want to talk about some of the fears that the people have. Stanley actually has this weird fear, he's afraid of this painting or something, and Pennywise actually takes the form of that painting. And at the end of the film, he's actually sucking the life out of him, and I was like, that looks creepy, And this is an example of CGI and special effects done right, because it doesn't look cheap or nothing, and actually looks kind of unsettling. And the imagery in this film was great. I really liked it. The imagery in this film was horrifying. And don't get me started on the scene where Richie's walking through the room with the clown dolls and stuff. He opens, cause there's a coffin just sitting up ahead, and he opens it, and I guess it's a dummy of him. And so and I think there's maggots on it or something for some reason, and he closes it, and Pennywise pops out. He's beep beep Richie, and then he chases after him, and Georgie quickly shuts the door. And that was one of my favorite moments, because I remember seeing a clip of that early where he's beep beep Richie, and it was the coolest thing ever. I felt like the way Bill Skarsgård says it was so cool. And I don't know how I keep forgetting to talk about it, but Richie is hilarious in this film. He had a lot of people cracking up, including me, and he was pretty funny. And just overall, some moments with the Losers Club was pretty funny, and it was honestly great. I also want to bring up the Deadlights, because they show up in a way different way in this film. And actually, in the miniseries, I'm gonna try not to compare these two as much, but in the miniseries, Henry Bowers, the deadlights get him, and he like his hair like turns white. Well, in this film, he tries to attack Mike, and well, Mike kicks him down the well, and I guess he dies. That's it. He dies, and it was crazy. Like the way he fell down and stuff. It was very nuts. And like, man, it was because like Henry, like, he actually kills his dad, and then he goes after the Losers Club, and he doesn't go very far. I want to talk about one of my favorite moments of the film, and that's when they go up to the Neibolt house. I felt like that whole part where they're in the Neibolt house was so good. I felt like they did it well, because, you know, Pennywise is going after all of them, and like he does, like, he moves weird. Like, he moves weird throughout this whole entire film, but he moves pretty weird in this, like, part. And, like, he gets stabbed with something through the head by Beverly, and he, like, starts turning into, like, a monster or something, and he's, like, walking towards them, and it looks so creepy. And then there's a part where, like, you know, the projector, when Mike kicks it, Pennywise shows up in a really huge form. Like, he's really big, and he's trying to go after him, and, like, I'm talking about the imagery is creepy in this film, and it's actually, it really fits the character, the way the imagery is, and I feel like they did a good job with the imagery, because imagery is really important in horror films, and I haven't felt so creeped out in, like, a long time, because, like, I don't scare easily, and I don't unsettle easily, and because, yeah, I grew up with horror films. Well, this film, like, is an example of a horror film done right, and like I said in the other review, I feel like horror films need to take notes off this, because I actually want to see it again. I actually miss it, actually. I actually miss it to the point where I actually want to go and see it again. Because it was just that good. And actually, you know what? We're actually planning on going to see it again, but this time with me, my sister, and my mom, because my mom didn't get to go because she's at work. But we're planning on seeing it again with her this time, like, because we told her, you know, it's good. It's a good film, and, you know, she wants to see it because, you know, I showed them the trailers, and they're like, you know, we can't wait, and it turned out like it's one of the most anticipated films of this year, and it didn't flop. That's actually, in a way, kind of rare for a really, like, something very anticipating to not flop. I'm happy. I'm happy to admit that that didn't happen. And it was such an unsettling film, and I can't get over how, you know, I feel like it's a great film because it didn't hold back, and it didn't hold back violence against kids, and that's good. You know, Stephen King's is a fucked up book. It shouldn't have to hold back with violence to kids, because, like, you know, it should be screwed up. It's supposed to be screwed up. And some people might not like violence against kids, but I don't mind it, because it makes, like, it just shows that, you know, film isn't afraid to go to darker places, and I like that. I really like that about this movie. Here's another great part of the film. It's where the leopard pops in, and my sister even said herself that this part was probably one of the scariest and one of the best well done parts, because like, I forgot his name, but he's going up to the like, he's passing the Neibolt Street, and or Neibolt house, I mean, sorry, and the leopard comes out of the house, and it's actually kind of disturbing, and he runs off, and Pennywise is sitting there, like, he's standing there with all those balloons, and he float up, and he smiles, and he starts talking to him, and it freaks him out, and I felt like that moment was done really well. I really liked that moment. It was great. But I think I got to talking about the Deadlights a little bit, that I kind of moved on. So, the Deadlights, I like the Deadlights a lot more in this film. So, um, Pennywise is actually holding Beverly. She's like, yo, I'm not afraid of you. And, Pennywise starts sniffing her, and he's like, you will be. And, that's one of the things, Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise, dude, he is just so creepy, and I feel like the way, like, his portrayal is actually pretty unsettling, because, like, he does this portrayal that's so, like, horrifying, like, just the way he speaks to the Losers Club and his gestures and everything are just so creepy. And I really like that. That's why I actually like Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise a lot more than Tim Curry. Even though Tim Curry isn't a bad Pennywise, I just really enjoy Bill Skarsgård more. But here's where it gets creepy. Alright, so Pennywise's mouth opens up and it's like if his face was a banana and it was getting peeled. It was peeling up and lights was coming from it. And that was the way the deadlights were done in this film. And actually, I feel like that's creepy. And that's what I like about this film. It has such creepy imagery. And I really like that. And I could go on about how amazing the imagery in this film is, like, for days. Because it's a good, like, it's done right. And I really like that. Although my non-spoiler review, I did mention how I felt like the standoff of Pennywise had a little had a little problems with it, which I did like it. I did like the standoff, but there's a little, like, it just felt really like, there's just some things I don't really care about, because they're fighting him, they're beating the shit out of him, and actually he was fighting back and turning into different forms, and they're like struggling, and I feel like it was kind of like at points it was bad, but I did like the standoff. Overall, it wasn't bad. And I think it was cool how like the Clown tried to turn to Beverly and try to trick her. And he's like, "Are you my little girl?" And then Beverly like stabs him, like puts something to his mouth, and it was pretty. I was like, yeah, because actually, earlier in the film, Beverly's dad tried to get her, and so she was fighting back and everything, and there's a point in the film where, she was hiding in the shower, and her dad came through and opened the curtain, and, Beverly smashed something over his head, and it was great, that, I was like, yeah, you go, I was like, holy shit. The kid's like, Bill's like, you must be afraid now, because, now you know that we're not afraid of you. And Bill just, I can't get over how amazing his performance was. But here's how the film ended. He went down this, like, hole, and he started crawling down. Bill was trying to get him, but he slipped down even more, and he was saying something. I don't remember what he was saying. And then like, he eventually, because like parts of his head was chipping off, or something, and he was saying something, and then he just fell down. There's like kids floating at the like very ceiling, and the kids started floating down. And I did not mention how like there's a part in the movie where like when the Deadlights got Beverly, like she just, not really responding, and then, Ben kisses her, and she realized that, he was the one who wrote the poem, and that's a difference from the miniseries, I guess I'm trying to compare it to. But so overall, the film, that's kind of how the film ended, and then, actually, it ended with the Losers Club later on promising to come back if, Pennywise comes back, and so they all cut each other's hands, or like, Bill went around and cut their hands with a piece of glass. They all held hands, and yeah, they pretty much, that's where the promise went in, and yeah, Bill and Bev were hanging out, then she left. I guess she was like moving somewhere new. Said that she'd be moving, and so she went away, and Bill ran up and kissed her. And so that's kind of how films like that, and I guess I have a problem with it, but you know, that's kind of what happened at the end. And so, yeah, when the movie was completely over, it popped up Chapter 1. So, it's definitely confirmed that there will be a Chapter 2, and especially with all the success the film has, I'm not gonna deny that there's gonna be a Part 2, and I hope, like, the Part 2, like, is just as good as this one, because I had a fun time. It was great. And, like I said, I would tell horror films to take notes off of this movie because it was great. I really enjoyed it. For like me, like I thought Get Out was my favorite movie of this year. I think that goes to it now. I think it's my favorite horror movie of this year. And for me, I feel like it deserves a 9.5 out of 10 because it was definitely a good movie and it float. It definitely float. And if you guys see it too, you guys will float too. I'm telling you guys, it's a good movie. And there's just so much in this film. And I wouldn't mind going there, sitting in a chair for 2 hours again just to see it. Because it was great. Even though some people were kind of annoying because it was packed and some people were talking, not much. People started calming down. But there's talking in it, like people were talking, but I didn't care. It was still a fun time, and I would see it again, and I actually am planning to see it again. But this was my spoiler review. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe to us. Scissors Paws Family, become a slasher, and share. As sharing really helps my channel, especially this video. You know, I loved it. I really loved it. And for people who are not too, for people who are afraid that it will be bad, don't be afraid. Do not. It's a good film. I enjoyed it, and I think you guys would too if you guys give it a chance. Just don't be afraid of it being bad, because it isn't bad at all. But I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.